Hey everyone, Chris Renshaw here, and today's video is going to be more of a vlog style video. It's been a while since I've put out a lot of stuff, so no reviews specifically today. But today I wanted to talk about my experiences at Origins, because I went into it some on this week's Boards and Swords, but because I didn't want to bore all the other hosts with me just talking for an hour, I thought I'd do another video where I can go into a little bit more detail about my experiences. So first things first, check out, I'll have to do in a future video once I get everything set up. I'm now in my basement instead of a room upstairs, but I now have like the entire floor for doing video and podcasting and gaming content. So you're gonna see a lot of this develop a little bit more, and like I said, once I get the other half finished out, I'm gonna do a complete tour. But like I said, Origins. I planned on doing having a lot more of a vlog kind of thing, so I'm gonna throw in a couple of videos right here that documented my process getting to Columbus. Well, it's 3:15 in the morning. Yeah, I'm here in Maryland. This is my first time going to Origins, so I thought I'd do some videos documenting my trip, letting you guys know what it's like. You may be wondering, why the hell are you leaving at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, because for where I live, if I don't leave now, I will end up in DC traffic, and that will add like an hour or two to my trip and take a 7 or 8 hour drive into like a 10-hour drive. So, leaving now, hopefully should get there around lunchtime. So, yay! How am I feeling right now? A little anxious, mostly hungry. I'm gonna go get some food. Well, it's about 7:20 a.m. and it's all downhill from here. And I mean that literally, because I'm in the mountains of West Virginia. Just crossed into West Virginia not too long ago, taking a stop here to rest, one of those welcome center rest stops. Just getting out, stretching my legs. But yeah, I'm pretty much at like the halfway point. So yeah, it's literally and figuratively all downhill. So, yeah, just been cruising, jamming the car. Starting to feel a little tired, which is why I decided I needed to stop. It feels weird because I feel like I should be getting food soon, but that makes it like breakfast. So I guess I'm pulling Hobbit's meals today, and this is second breakfast, I guess. Traffic's been great. There's like no traffic because anyone smart and actually having a brain is just now getting out of bed. So while it sucks getting up early in the morning, if you don't want to deal with a bunch of people on the road, it's definitely worth getting up and getting on the road this early. So with that, I think it's time to continue onwards. Let's follow that truck. All right, it's 9:20 in the morning. I'm inside Ohio somewhere, so in the same state, less than 2 hours to go. Not too far from the border, but I was getting tired and I had to stop, so I'm somewhere. I don't even know what city this is, but I do know it's weird. Like, I have not been here very long, but I already know, I don't know if it's a place I'd want to like stay here. I mean, I got off the highway, and the first big, huge sign you see is like, whatever, general urology, and the website underneath is vasectomy.com. So whatever's around here, apparently they don't want kids, because it's a booming business for them to afford that huge sign. There's a mall right here, so it must be some sort of big city, or not, like, decently sized city. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'll get up and I'll walk around a little bit. Then I realized, oh, wait. It's 9 in the freaking morning. Nothing's open. What is open? McDonald's. So got me an orange juice. This is the second breakfast I'm talking about. Oh, speaking of McDonald's and the weirdness of this town, I go into the bathroom and this old man flushes the urinal and just walks straight out. I'm like, ew. Dude, I'm glad that like the door was still open from where I came in, because like dude didn't wash his hands or anything. That's disgusting. All right. This old man, I don't want to know what he's been touching. That's gross. So I'm going to sit here and eat my sausage biscuit. And then next stop, Origins. Well, I've arrived in Columbus. I'm staying here. I'm actually quite a distance away from the convention center right now. I'm at the Days Inn Fairgrounds because, so get this. If you've been following, I've been talking about how I signed up to run a bunch of games to get my hotel room paid for at Origins, and I'm staying at the Holiday Inn there. However, it doesn't start until tomorrow when the convention starts, which I think is stupid. You know, it goes until Monday, which I won't be needing. I'll be leaving on Sunday, but doesn't cover today for some reason. So I was having to scramble around. I wasn't sure where I was going to have to go. I didn't want to spend money for a one night hotel room, and I was checking all these different things. Nothing really happened. Luckily, some travel kicked in with some points that had built up, and I was able to get a free room here just for the night. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Let's see, what time did I? Let's see, it is 11:30. So back here now. So now I'm gonna jump in the car and drive downtown and see who I can run into there. So like I said, that was the getting to Columbus part. I was going to do more at Columbus and on the way back, but on the way back I was really exhausted and didn't feel like stopping more than I already was stopping. And B, I was so involved into what was going on at Origins, I didn't really want to stop just to vlog, just to record a video and record the experience. I was just having so much fun just being there. So I'm sure you'll understand. So I went up on Tuesday and got into Columbus. My first time going to Columbus, Ohio. I've driven past there on the way to Gen Con, but first time actually visiting the city. And because of the video you saw, I had to stay at the Days Inn, which was kind of a weird, that Days Inn was definitely kind of creepy. It was by the fairgrounds. It was only like a 5-minute drive into downtown, but it was still kind of weird. So with that, I got in on Tuesday, went downtown to get everything, potentially get my badge, because since I had a GM's badge, I could get my badge a day early, which was really nice. So met up with some of the Dice Tower folks, got to eat lunch with them and hang out. I was kind of overwhelmed because it was in the middle of Columbus. The North Market that I went to that everybody talks about was just fascinating. There was so much food and stuff. I was just overwhelmed and not sure where to start. So I offered to help Tom Vassell and the Dice Tower crew set up their booth just to get my feet wet and collect my bearings a little bit. It seems like there was a little bit of difficulty there, as a lot of the organization behind Origins seemed to not be up to snuff on what different booths needed. So there was a lot of stuff wasn't ready, or shipments and stuff hadn't arrived or whatever. So I helped out a little bit of what I could, but ultimately it was going to be much later before stuff really came in. So went across to Barley's, got to try out some beers at Barley's. Is a pub. It's like right across from the convention center. Really cool. I have a glass from them, but I think it's still in the stuff that's still upstairs. I'll have to go get and show off at some point. But I met up with some of the Secret Cabal guys, Chris and Janie from the Secret Cabal, Eric from Push Your Luck podcast, not to mention Rodney from Watch It Played, and Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, and they were learning the game Insider, and so I got to play a few rounds of Insider with those guys. Really neat game. Kind of got a little bit old just playing it in one solid bit over and over and over again, because you start going down the same realms of questioning, but it's a nice simple game. But then I broke off, went and got my badge, went back to Barley's later on and met up with the folks from Blue Peg Pink Peg, specifically Patrick and Rob, who I'd both met before, but I got the chance to meet Christina, Rob's wife, for the first time, so that was really cool. And then they were heading to Kingmakers, which is a board game parlor that's about a mile, maybe-ish, 6 blocks or so away from the convention center. But it's a board game parlor. It's in kind of a basement. You pay $5, and then you've got access to their game library. You can play games all over their setup. Not to mention they've got a bunch of craft brews. It was a really cool time. Had a lot of fun there. Met
Berkey from Board Game Theater, and the guy does a whole bunch of other stuff. And I learned Spyfall for the first time there, which was really fun. And then I also met from their kind of sort of the Blue Peg, Pink Peg circle, some of their fans, and also just people in the board gaming community in general. But Megan and Joanna, who I ended up hanging out with a lot throughout the convention. Specifically, the next day, we fast forward to Wednesday and chatting on the Blue Peg, Pink Peg Slack, which is like a messaging system thing, and met up with Megan later that morning at the Starbucks in the Hyatt, and got in Game of Trains, which is a game I had gotten in from Brain Games and been wanting to try out, but it hadn't had a chance to. So we played a couple games of Game of Trains, a lot of fun doing that. And then somebody else showed up, I believe it was another person named Chris. Sorry if I get people's names wrong. And he showed us, first of all, he showed us this, which is something that I ended up afterwards contacting and getting a sample for myself to try out. But this is called a Quiver, and it is a card game carrying case. So if I can actually get it open. So you open it up and you've got slots for all the card games. And I saw a lot of people using these. So I was very intrigued. Like I said, I managed to go out and contact the company and get a sample one to review, which I've not used a whole lot, so it's still a little rough. The leathern's not worn in. But I'll give I want to do a lot more field testing with this. Specifically, I'm going to take this to Gen Con and see how well it does there. So maybe a while before you see a proper review of this, but I just wanted to mention that I thought it was a really cool thing, really cool, neat idea for people traveling and using games. But he brought out Manhattan Project Chain Reaction, which was a very fun, nice little hand management card game. Card quality was exceptional. Artwork was fantastic. I backed this and then backed out because I was backing other projects at the time. I seriously am hating that at this point. I'm having non-buyer's remorse on that, and that I really wish I had stuck with it and kept that Kickstarter. Then from Wednesday until Saturday, every day I ran 2 games of Cypher System from Monte Cook Games. And I ran 2 games every day, the same 2 games. I ran a superheroes game called Dread Expectations, where you're trying to fight a Doctor Doom style kind of villain that's using a giant alien robot to take over the world. And then I ran my own game that I developed myself in-house called Noctera, which was basically, the easiest way is it's a post-apocalyptic vampires and werewolves and wizards versus aliens and zombies. So really neat games, couple of games. It was great. Cypher System's great to run at a convention like this. So first game, I actually didn't have anybody show up to. My first game was Wednesday. It was a Noctera game. Show up granted, I didn't show up till like 3 to 5 minutes beforehand, but I was there before time started, which was at 1 o'clock. Specifically because I had met up with the guys from Easy Roller Dice and managed to they were generous enough to supply me with some bulk dice to hand out to all my players for the week. So I was getting dice from them, so I ended up not getting to that in between lunch, taking way too long because it's the first day of convention and every place was booked solid, and me not estimating a time. So a lot of this is on me, granted. But in my defense, I was there early. Nobody showed up. Come to find out later, when I heard some people talking at a table next to me, that the guys had shown up early, saw I was not there, and then just pieced out. And I apologized to them. I gave them the dice and freebies. I had hoped that they would come to a later game. But so sorry again to those guys if you're seeing this at all. Mega apologies on that. And from that moment on, I was definitely there at least 30 minutes beforehand, because that was a major lesson learned for me, was making sure you were at the jam. I mean, I should have planned better as far as that with meal times, etc. But so Wednesday night, actually, after I finished up my last Cypher game that night, I was in the Hyatt because that's where all my games were basically in the same room. So I got to hang out with a couple of the same people who were in and out of the room. So I got to talk with them. Really cool people. And I was looking around on Twitter to see what was up. I saw that Michael from the RPG Academy was going to be meeting up with some people at the Big Bar on 2 in the Hyatt. I'm already in the Hyatt, so I went over and hung out. Grabbed a table, we sat, I had some appetizers and some drinks. Talked with a lot of the kind of the RPG podcasting sphere. Met a lot of cool people I'd never met before. Some of the people from Misdirected Mark, Phil from Misdirected Mark, and Senda, who does the Pandas Talking Games and the She's a Super Geek podcast, I believe. Somebody don't shoot me if I get those wrong. I got to meet them, both really cool people. Also got to see Jim McClure. I'd interviewed him, I'd seen him before, chatted with him before, but it was nice to sit and chat with him. Michael taught us the game Hanabi, because surprisingly I'd never played Hanabi, but I finally got a chance to play Hanabi. It was one of those games that was on my I need to get this played kind of thing, and now I finally have gotten it played. So, and then now we fast forward into Thursday. Thursday, after all my games, Thursday was weird. This was weird part of the convention is that Wednesday was when the convention started, but the hall for all the vendors didn't open until Thursday, which was rather odd. So I'm used to the first day of the convention being the first day that the hall's open. That's why I had planned in some of my gaming to give myself on Wednesday time to go visit the hall, but turns out it wasn't open. So Thursday, luckily, I also planned for some time, but I managed to go in the hall. Really funny because if you've listened to the Blue Peg Pink Peg 100th episode, which I had prior to going on the drive up from Maryland, they had talked about how a lot of the times people yell to Patrick or Rob, they'd be like, Valuspa! So here I am in the middle of the Origins conference center, or the vendor hall, and all of a sudden, like 3 aisles away, I hear, Valuspa! And I immediately pulled out my phone and tagged both of them, and we're like, did I just hear that? And sure enough, yeah, I did. Managed to get a bunch of cool things. I'm going to do a whole separate video, because otherwise this video would be huge. I'm going to do a separate video on the loot haul that I got from Origins. So we'll get to that in another video. Thursday night was the Blue Peg Pink Peg meetup, which I got there super late because I was running games until 10 o'clock. So at that point, super tired, but managed to make the walk out to the bar where they were, which was really weird going into the bar because it looked like a standard college town kind of bar in the front, and I'm like, am I in the right spot here? But sure enough, I asked one of the waitresses, and they showed me to the back where all my people, the gamers, were, and sure enough, everyone was there. A lot of the people I had met at other meetups were there, Kentucky Mike, who I had talked with him on Twitter. We were going to have a Scythe game later that week, which I'll get to. TJ Firebeard, Terry. These are names that if you've heard, if you listen to any of these shows, and it's just people that I'd seen at meetups and meetups past at like Gen Con and that sort of thing. And it was just cool to see them once again and talk and hang out. In addition to Christina, Patrick, and Rob. And, of course, I got to get some games of Happy Salmon. Also got some really good food and beer. Awesome time. It was also the first time that I got hit up for money for weed. So I'm outside the bar waiting to get an Uber back because the hotel they had us staying in for the GMs was the Holiday Inn, which was like a mile away from the convention center. And Wednesday I tried to walk it, but I got halfway and I just couldn't do it and ended up taking the bus. So I'd been doing a lot of Ubering and lifting on the way there and back. But as I'm waiting for it, somebody's just coming up going, hey man, you got some money so me and my girlfriend can buy some weed? Anyways, no, whatever. So then Friday we get into more meetups. Friday night was the Secret Cabal meetup, which was super packed. It was crazy. It was at the Gordon Biersch that was there, and that was a great time hanging out and talking with people. It was a lot of just roaming around talking. I didn't really get many games in, except for around dinner I got to play a Fake Artist Goes to New York. I believe it's what it's called. It's like a social deduction drawing game. That was kind of neat, but it was more of just hanging out and chilling. More of that. Then fast forward to Saturday, and all my Saturday I finish up playing my games, but I have to talk about one thing first. There was a super awesome couple that was there that I ran games for on Wednesday, the Supers game, and they said that they were going to be in a game of mine on Saturday as well. Keep in mind, Saturday is my birthday. This is my birthday, and I was running 2 games for Pete, running 2 games in the morning, and then I left the whole afternoon free so I could actually get some board gaming in. Well, they had mentioned in one of the guys, he was one of the few guys that already had known the Cypher system pretty well because he played Numenera and was familiar with Numenera, but he had backed the Reliquary box, which you can see right over there, that big, huge, it's almost like a collector's edition of Numenera, which he had backed on Kickstarter, and for some strange reason had ended up getting 2 copies of by accident. And he'd emailed Monte Cook Games and said, I got this by accident. They said, whatever, just keep it. But he said, he was asking me if I had a lot of the supplements and stuff for Numenera, and I was explaining, yeah, I have quite a lot of Monte Cook Games books back there. And he's like, well, I've got this extra Reliquary. I want to see it go to a good home. Do you want it? And I was like, okay, sure. Thinking whatever, he's probably just pulling my leg or something. But on Saturday, on my birthday, he comes walking in with this giant box and gives it to me, still in shrink, and gives it. He's like, here, you can have this for free. And I was just like, dude, you don't know how awesome this is. This is, it's my birthday. This is a really cool gift. I mean, I know you weren't thinking of it that way, but it just, for me, it just meant a lot to me. And just the fact of it just showed how cool some of the gaming community is. That's one thing I love going to conventions, is I just love the community aspect. But then after all the games end, that's when like the gaming part of Origins really took off for me, and that I met up with a bunch of the other people that I've mentioned in this video and played a lot of gaming. So first of which was I had to play the Scythe game. This is a box top game that me and Mike Smith, otherwise known as Kentucky Mike, had organized together with a couple other people, and this was a box top game where we were going to write in on the top inside of his box who won, and this guy ended up winning Game of Scythe, and so my name is now on the inside of his box, and I haven't let him forget it yet, although I think a rematch is in order at Gen Con this year. But then also got to play with the Pegs, for both Rob, Christina, and Patrick, as well as Joanna, and even Mike came in on some of them. We played 2 of the exit games, the Pharaoh's Tomb and the Secret Lab, which I can't really say too lot of because they will give away the games. They're escape room games that simulate the idea of the puzzles and scenarios that you kind of see in an escape room. But the exit games are unique in that they definitely use up a lot of the components, so you can't reuse the games, unlike the Unlocked series, which I also got and we'll show off in another video. But so we played both of those. Those were a lot of fun, but definitely, they definitely roasted the brain pretty well. And then lastly, I think by that point we were starting to get towards the end of the night, finished off with some other stuff, including this weird Haba game called Go Cuckoo, which was crazy bizarre, and I don't even know. At that point, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm starting to kind of lose it. Go back, crash. Sunday, wake up, managed to hit a bunch of other retailers in the retail room and get the other things in my that I've been wanting on my list. Pick out some gifts for Chloe and Ashley, and then by then it was time to peace out and head back to Maryland. That was a hard drive by myself. On the way there, I think the excitement of going there kind of made the trip go by fast, but it took me forever to get back because I was tired, I was exhausted. I had to make, that was a long drive to make by myself. I had to stop plenty of times and kind of stretch my legs, walk around, get the blood moving again. But all in all, Origins was great. It was my first Origins. I had a lot of fun, got a lot of stuff, got to meet a lot of cool people, got to hang out with a lot of people that I'd already met before, and it's just awesome. Conventions are so much fun, and if you're watching this video and you've never been to one, you need to go to a gaming convention. If you like gaming at all, then you'll have fun at a gaming convention. Be like, oh, but I don't know anybody. That's the best part. Gamers are so inclusive that you can just find people. There's tons of people that are willing to play games. Some conventions even have rooms set aside where you can go and find people willing to play games, and it's just so much fun. So with that, make sure you check out other videos on the channel. Let me know down in the comments below if you were at Origins and I missed you. If not, I'm sorry. I'll be at Gen Con though. Let me know if you're going to be at Gen Con. Let me know what conventions you've been to, and I will see you guys next time.